Unlike the beginning, Palestina eklemeye zaten seyye bakmak dedi ya.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Are you able? Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we
You're able
can
to
hear
hear
you.
me now as well.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Fine. All right. So I think we're still waiting for a few people to join, isn't it? We are 42. Last time we had 100 plus, right? Is it?
Yes, sir, we had 80 plus we had, yes.
80 plus,
80
yeah.
plus. 100 plus පටන් ගන්නකොට ඉවර
Yes.
වෙනකොට ඔක 80 plus මම තව පැයක් ගෙනිච්චා නම් ඕක 60 plus. හරිද? ඕම තමයි ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එක ගියේ. Right? Anyway, no worries. How quickly do you guys want me to finish today's session?
So we didn't get you, sir.
No, I was asking how quickly do you want me to finish the session today here?
As
That's
much as
up to you,
possible.
sir.
It's up to you. Sir.
You can decide even
No,
5 minutes.
I think we can
Ah.
start now, right?
No. No, I
3 to
got
4 minutes per slide, so if there is no questions, so there should be sufficient enough.
No. Probably, I think I will finish a little bit earlier, maybe around 8:15 or 8:30. Because there's something taking place, I have to go. But then I'm not there for the 24th. But again, I'll probably 27. I'm traveling a bit, so a bit tight with schedules. But I think definitely we'll cover everything. That's no problem, right? So you guys have been thinking about some of your research.
Still thinking about the heading, sir, the research topic and all, and the region. That is the important thing. Like,
So, any idea when we can expect our second semester result?
I think the results should be coming out soon. Maybe they are. Maybe it should come next week or this week because this is the week of the 20th, right? Yeah. So probably you should get your results this week, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe this week or next week. Because most of the main other results have gone out. So now I think they should start releasing news.
Sir, just small question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Guys, if you have any questions, keep asking so
Yeah.
that
So no, this
maybe
is
when assign.
related to the sir. This is related to the result actually. So how's the result is issuing from the Cardiff or in the ICT, ICTB? Sir, that's the way, or any other extra panel is there?
Okay, this is why you're supposed to be there in my academic writing session. You have not been there for my session. Okay, no problems. So we have the correction, first correction here, second marker here, And then there's a third marker in Cardiff who looks at the balancing of things. And then we have an examination board. So in the examination board, both Cardiff and ICBT has to agree on those marks because there can be differences. And once they agree, the marks are issued. So once they agree, they sign off. So Cardiff has to give the final approval on the marks. And then only ICBT can release. So then
Okay,
ICBT
sir.
will release the marks to you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
So I said our next session on 27. No, so coming Friday we don't have class, right?
No, coming Friday, you don't have classes because I'm not sure whether I can take a class or not. Because it is so dicey at the moment. And 27th, I'm pretty much stable. So I should be able to take the class on the 27th. I'm going to Jaffna tomorrow and I'm back again on the 28th. I don't know whether you guys know there's a world press photo exhibition that's going on at the Independence Arcade. So we have brought it in. So now we're taking it to Jaffna to showcase it in Jaffna. So I have to go with the team. And then we are doing it in Gaul as well on the 31st, 1st, and 2nd. So doing everything with the travel. So it's a bit of challenge.
So like last week discussion, no, I tried in ChatGPT, like I used AI tools, then it give me a few topics. So I'm now going through those topics. Then I think after this session I can finalize myself topic.
Well, good luck if you can find nice. Well, we'll start at 7:20, guys. Huh? We'll give about 4 minutes and start at 7:20.
So I have one question regarding my topics. I have already chosen one topic to do the same in
Okay.
my organization. So I choose the SNOP process implementation, and I checked it with my top management. I wanted to do this in my organization. So since this is involved many people and the top management, since SNOP includes the planning, sales, and operations. So at the same time, some synergy and there's some restructuring going in my top management. So they told me this is not the right time to do this because this might lead to some conflict in the organization. So I just wanted to know still if I can do this topic with the secondary data. Is it okay? Because I have a very good network in UAE for the supply chain. So getting interviews, sampling and all will not be a big problem for me. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it with secondary data, no problems, right?
Okay.
No problem, right? You need to convince the supervisor in your first meeting that you're going with the secondary data, right?
Okay.
And make
Okay.
sure that
Makes
he
sense.
understands that. Huh?
Okay.
And
Okay.
if he's okay with that, you can continue. No problems.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, let's start. So today we are basically going to talk about literature review, right? Literature review is your chapter 2, right? And your chapter 2 becomes a very, very important part of the entire research. Because in chapter 1, you have basically now spoken about your problem. You have said why you are starting this research. You have a question, and it is because of that question you are trying to go in and dig into the research, right? And and that itself, right, basically it gives you the foundation to say, okay, look, I have a problem. My question is, will this will solve the problem? And you basically want to now ensure what is out there that people have created or what people have developed and is available, right? So that means there is others, because you might think you got the most unique idea. You might think you got the best of ideas, you got the best of things, right? But you will be surprised to see that somebody else has already done a research of that area, or maybe has done a certain angles in that area, right? Or maybe has done something exactly what you want to do, but in another organization, in another country. So you want to do that here in Sri Lanka, maybe replicate it or maybe improvise it, right? To do something different. This is how we kind of look at literature review. So the literature review basically gives you the idea of what is being done at the moment, what is existing in regard to this problem at the moment, right? And you need to read it and then give an understanding to the reader. This is what is being done so far. This is what is being available. This is the methodology that they have followed. Therefore, there are some gaps here which you are trying to address in your research, right? That is what you're trying to do, right? That is what you're trying to do, right? So in the first place, you need to see that you have enough literature review. Your literature review carries 40% of your marks, right? Your 40%, your weightage for the literature review is almost 40%, guys, right? Right? It's not the marks, the weightage for literature review is 40%. So you need to do a very good literature. The most chunk of words will go into your chapter 2, literature review, right? So you need to make sure that you have a very good literature, right? So, for example, you want to do something, say, I mean, we take the example of this phone thing. First, you want to know whether other people have had a similar problem. You go on the net and see whether there is anybody has written about it. What are they talking about? What is being said? Whether there have been any other research before that has been there? What has been said, etc., and so on. And that becomes your literature review. So similarly here also, we take any example, like say in logistics, you would go and say, okay, what is logistics? What have they said about logistics? What are the current trends? What is the research? Has there been a research done in the area of green logistics? What are the researches that have been done? How is it? So you tend to kind of look for articles, journals, knowledge in your area so that you can convince the researcher, convince your supervisor, convince the people who are going to allow your research to say that, look, you have got a research that can be done. That's what I said. We talk about this motivation, turnover, and all those things. Yes, there have been enough research has been done. You can take one of those also, and because anyway you can say it's unique to your organization. But there is enough research been done in that area, so it doesn't give you that kick or that kind of what do you call a feeling of saying you're trying something new. So it becomes very important that you look at the LR as a way of basically bringing things together, right? And to show this is what you found, this is what are the gaps, and therefore you're going ahead with this research. Don't be surprised if somebody has already done the research, guys. Don't be surprised, right? It can be as well. So, literature review is a crucial part of an undergraduate or postgraduate program dissertation. The importance is shown by separate chapter itself, right? So the fact that we have allocated one complete chapter for literature review is a clear indication that you need to give importance to the chapter, one whole chapter. If you take the first chapter, we are talking about title, research problem, research question, this and that, and everything. But here, we are basically talking about the entire literature that has to be there, that supports your entire research, right? And then we are also talking about the need to improve, right? I mean, it provides the basis for you to kind of justify and say that, look, I mean, you have this research done, this research talks about this, and whether you have got your question right. So maybe there are very good chances when you read your literature review, you might find, well, guess what? There is somebody else who has already done this research. And now that that person may be giving you a hint or a hunch to say, look, why don't you look at why don't you look at why don't you look at another angle, and you might change your title because the problem is there. But now you say, like, for this problem, maybe I can still change the title and look at a possible solution, right? You can still look for a possible solution in that area. So it is important, guys, that the literature review will give you a right way of looking at things as to how things can be, right? So give importance, guys. You need, that's what I said from the beginning. Start reading, right? And your literature review can also give you ideas in regard to the research design, how they have gone about doing the research. Was it a qualitative, quantitative? How many people were involved? What were some of the questions? Or what were some of the areas? What were the outcomes? Right? So it can be a daunting task, a very, very difficult task, because it could be a very wide scope, already existing, studies have been compared to yours, right? But your judgment becomes important as to what to include, what not to include, right? And that is how you go about with the continuation of your research. So you have a research problem, but now what we're trying to do is we are trying to see whether we could actually have a whether we could actually have what do you call we could actually have a good research to continue, right? So you have identified a topic, you have a context and objectives, and now you are in the review of literature, which will help you to define the methodology, define concepts, define how we are going to do the research, and so on, right? That is where we are. So we are here, right? So if I were to look at it, right? So we are looking at this. Give me a minute. Yeah. So we are here, guys, right? This is where we are. Okay. right? Okay, guys. So when you do your literature review, you remember last time I mentioned, like, okay, when you talk about the phone, the problem justification and how you did the first time, and I said, you will pick up some of the factors, the areas that are there, right? How to go about doing this area, etc., and so on, right? And it will give you the kind of the causes, the effects, etc., and so on. And you are able to come out with a conceptual model that you can draw, right? A conceptual model you can draw and say, this is what you are trying to prove. This is what you may be trying to prove, right? So here, if you take this conceptual model based on a literature review that was done, what we are saying, there is a variable called intelligence. A person can be intelligent. The academic achievements, the mediating variable, ensures a earning potential for the person. Intelligent person getting some academic achievement can have a good earning potential, right? Fine. However, the amount of effort this person puts in can make a difference in regard to the achievement and the earning potential, right? Intelligence, it may not end up in the results. It may not be a distinction or a merit. It can also be that as well as to what you get. But it can also be the knowledge that the person achieves, able to face interviews better, practice better, apply better. Therefore, the person gets a earning potential. This is what we are basically talking about. This is what we're talking about, right? So these variables you can actually pick from the literature review. And then you come out with a model to say, maybe initially you were talking about, your title earlier would have been academic achievement helps earning potential. But after you review these literature, etc., and so on, you realize it is not only the earning potentials, like not only the academic achievement gives you the earning potentials, it is basically the intelligence of the person, the efforts that person puts in can make a difference in the academic achievement, thereby able to have a better earning potential. This is what the literature review can do. By you reading, you can come out with this model, or maybe you had only this model and the literature review can give you further dimensions for you to kind of have better model to be tested. So it can help you to have a totally different look of what you're looking at as part of your literature, guys, right? What you're looking at part of your literature, right? So do keep this in mind. Any questions so far?
Sir, I raised one question in their chat box.
Okay, hold on. Can you raise something in the chat box? Nothing is in the chat box. Yeah. Nirosha, sorry. It's there. Okay, when selecting literature, are there any specific conditions to consider, such as the publication, age, author, credibility, or the number of citation it has received, etc., and so on? Yes, as we go forward, we would look at some of those, right? At an MBA level, we are not looking too much about the journal index, the score, and so forth, but we are only looking at probably the credibility of the journal, credibility of the literature, nothing more than that, right? I mean, we're not looking at whether you got a H index top level scoring. No, we're looking at something different. However, we will basically look at the credibility of the source. Where have you taken it from? That matters. Okay. So we'll look at, as we go on, we will look at some of the areas that you can look for literature, etc., and so on. Okay. Any other questions? All right, moving on. So, reviewing existing literature, you want to know what is already known in the area of your interest. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, because if somebody has already created something or done something halfway through, why do you want to reinvent the wheel, right? So, it's important to know whether what has been done and you can actually go on to change. Demonstrate your ability to involve in scholarly review, indicates your knowledge in the subject, right? Right. So the literature review can actually demonstrate your ability to involve in like academic reviews. I mean, the journals that have been printed, the books that have been published, the knowledge that you gain from it, etc., and so on, right? And the literature review also indicates your knowledge in the subject, so that you know whether you are expert or not, because the supervisor may not know, but it's your expertise that you're going to come and convince and say, look, this is what it is, right? This is what it is. Okay. So reviewing is not reproducing the theory and opinions of other scholars. Reviewing is all about you saying, okay, you have read this, this is where you agree, this is where you disagree, and this is your thoughts in regard to this literature. That's what you're trying to do, right? That's what you are actually trying to do, guys. Okay, right? That's what you're trying to do. So it's not about saying so and so said this. No, you're basically saying researchers by so and so has looked at these things areas, but however, this is what we are looking at, right? These are some of the good things that you're basically looking at, but this is what the final outcome is. Okay. So what should be identified? What is known in the area? And if it's green logistics, okay, what is known in green logistics, right? What concepts and theories are relevant in this area? What research methods and strategies have been used? Any significant controversies, right? Any inconsistencies in findings related to the area? Any unanswered area? That would be probably your gaps, any unanswered areas, right? So this is what you're looking for in every research paper that you're reading, right? Right? What are they saying? What has been said? What will be there? Right? What concept and theories are relevant to the area? What research methods and strategies have been used? Any significant controversies, right? And inconsistencies and unanswered areas. This is what you're looking for when you're reading a journal, right? How many of you guys have read a journal, guys? If not, okay, fine, Damayanti.
I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So if not, it's no problem. Just go online, look for a particular topic that you're interested in. You can go to Google Scholar, pick a journal, read it, so that you know like what a research journal is all about. What have they written? How they have processed? How have they proceeded, etc., and so on. So for those of you who have read, you have a good idea. For those of you who have not read, probably it's a good start also. Do it today. So those as the next week, you kind of have an idea as to how a research has been done and what a journal looks like, right? So we're not only going to read journals, we are also going to look at other content as well, right? We're going to look at other content as well, right? So the first start can be your textbook, right? Your textbook. They are the first useful resource for theories in specific areas. They're really good, right? They're really good. And they cover a broad range of topics in textbooks, right? Much more thoroughly than any articles that you can find. A good starting point, right? A good starting point. And just give me a minute, guys. a good starting point, right? Because it takes you in a very lighter reading, right? They explain everything, they talk about it, etc., and so on. So you kind of feel that everything uh, everything is kind of falling into place. Everything kind of falling into place. They'll kind of take you through a nice way, right? Uh, and it helps, right? And it helps, right? A downside of the textbook is that they tend to be less updated, right? Because the edition would have been printed 4 years ago. A lot of things would have changed, right? They may have also good details about journal articles, theses, and other unpublished manuscripts, but they may be outdated also, right? The theories may be the same, the case studies may be different. Some new innovation may not be captured. So in that case, it becomes a real challenge, guys. It becomes a real challenge. So it's important for you to understand that important for you to understand that while textbook is a good start, you can still bring references, you can still take concepts, frameworks, but when it comes to case studies, innovation, modern thoughts, maybe you need to think twice whether you want to go with that or not. But a textbook, yes, definitely. Then we are looking at journals. Both academic and professional journals are important source to update information. Most of these journals are peer reviewed, which means it has gone through probably few eyes who are subject matter experts who have scrutinized it, who have given their thoughts, opinion, and probably it's refined better than a raw journal, right? Uh, some of these journals summarize previous research findings also, so that it can actually help you in the existing research, right? They provide an overview of all important research in a specific area. The conceptual background section of the research article provides a good compact overview of relevant literature, describes the purpose of the study, method. So it's a quick one that can give you like quickly understand what are the methods, the study that is all about. Valuable source of recent developments in the field and facts and figures. Some of these journals bring you facts and figures that are current and relevant, which can help you with some of the work that you're doing, right? In regard to your research, may provide you and feel for a practical relevance of a problem, and it can actually be very relevant to the supply side, right? The demand side, where we are looking at having problems, trying to sort things out. So that way, journals can be really useful. Previous theses, PhD, MBA, right? MBA theses, PhD theses, they can be a good source of review as well because they have a good exhaustive list of literature. They include several empirical chapters where people talk about different areas, the same structure and characteristics as academic journals and articles, right? But not every empirical chapter of a thesis is eventually published in an academic journal. So a thesis can have a lot more information, which means a lot of reading, but maybe too much also. But if you have the time, fine, maybe one or two theses, right? That's something that you may want to do, right? Conference proceedings, like maybe the recent global supply chain conference, right, held somewhere, can have its proceedings. You can find the proceedings which are published. You can get info from those proceedings, right? They are very up to date, presented by people who are probably top notch in the field or probably are in the current trends and so on, right? And not necessarily every manuscript is presented at the conference and eventually published, but hence you must be critical about what is the quality of information source as well. But it can be a good insight. If there are some good papers that have been published, it can be really good, guys. It can be really good for you to look at things. Okay, right? All right. Then we are looking at unpublished manuscripts. The unpublished manuscripts are the ones that basically, how do you say it? The ones that basically have been reviewed, ready for publication, have been sent to the press, but it has not been printed or published, right? Maybe it's going through its final adjustments, something like that, right? That is what we're looking at, right? So that could be the manuscript, okay, right? So unpublished manuscript can also have some influence. So you're having it in Word document, which is officially not out there, but you have access to it. But it's just going to be printed in the coming months, and often very up to date also, right? So you could also have some of these manuscripts as well. Reports, government department and corporations, commissions, reports, they also have large amount of data which can help you with your research, right? But you just need to see how relevant they are, right? They can be a good source of specific industry market, like say, if you take the service department reports, if you take central bank reports, if you take maybe the reports from customs, or like maybe ports authority, shipping, like, I mean, if you're looking at logistics areas, or if you take ICTA, if you take SLASCOM, the reports in regard to IT sector, right? Or if you take JAF in regard to the apparel sector. So like, I mean, you can also find reports coming from the what you call the authority of the industry. But then again, if the government is publishing, like say the Minister of Industries, etc., that can also be a very good start as well. Okay, right. Newspapers can also be a good source. Newspapers can also be a good source, guys, right? So for example, like you could find that a latest current happening. Like, I mean, if you ask me, like, I mean, I tend to look at BBC or any of these news items so that they can actually tell me, like, I mean, what's actually happening in the current scenario, right? And that kind of gives me a good sense of how things can be also, right? How things can be also, right? So it's really good to see like how these things can actually, how some of these reports, stories, etc., can help you because they are published, they are up to date, useful sources, but sometimes you have to be careful with opinions, right? Opinions, and they are also not unbiased, right? They're not always unbiased. They may be biased, so you have to be careful as to how it is. Unless they're bringing in direct stats and trying to prove things to you, right? Then it's okay, right? Then we look at the internet, right? The internet at the moment has a lot of content. It has a lot of pages. It's easy and all those stuff, right? And you could also have a lot of information on the internet. Like, I mean, if you go to DOJ, you could find the directory of open access journals that have been published, right? If you go to Google Scholar, you will have published data over there. You could go to the ResearchGate. They will also have published information. You could go to so many other libraries that are out there that can give you free journals, free publications, so that you don't need to subscribe. But let me also tell you, you also have access to Cardiff Library, which will give you access, to other journals that are out there as well, right? So you can look at those journals as well, right? Okay, so go online and search about it, right? So becoming familiar with the online resources, I think it's important for you to first identify electronic journals. Your library probably has subscribed to some electronic journals that may be available where you have access. It can be the Harvard Business Review, right? It can be the Harvard Business Review. It can be any other key magazines or journals related to a particular industry whatsoever. So that can actually give you a better idea as well, right? There are full text databases where you find the journals fully printed. It's fully available, the full version. But then you also have certain journals which will have the title, the author, a little bit of a brief, but then more of the bibliography, so that you know this is where all these articles and related particular books, this and that and everything is available. Then you have the abstract databases. Abstract databases also provide like summary of the entire article, what they have done, what has been available, etc., and so on. But they do not provide the full text or the manuscript or nothing, right? But it gives you an idea as to what the research has been, so that at least you know. And when you know, probably you can do further research and see where you can actually get the full text version of that research, right? So there are several databases that are available. Your Cardiff access to your library also has journals, dissertations, etc., and so on. So that should not be much of an issue for you over there. Evaluating the literature, right? A glance at the title, it's important. So when you look at a literature, when you look at a document that you're trying to read, a title, a newspaper, whatsoever, you first look at the title and see whether the title actually goes in line with views, right? Right. Take an abstract of the article and see whether that overview, the purpose, everything fits with you, right? A good abstract will provide you enough information to help you decide whether this article is relevant, right? Then you go through the article introduction, so that will give you the total picture as to what it's trying to handle, what it's trying to prove or do, etc., and so on, right? That will kind of give you a good understanding as to whether this journal is good for you to kind of work on, right? Whether this journal is good for you to actually work on. So do all this stuff and go through the table of contents also, right? So that you know when you go to the table of contents, and the first chapter may help you assess whether it's relevant for you or not. So if you're looking at a book, it could be the table of contents, right? Where you could find what are the areas that has been done, whether it helps you or not, etc. and so forth. Okay. So the questions that you need to ask, right, when you are looking at literature review, is the main research question or problem statement presented in a clear and analytical way? Whether it's clear that you understand what is being said, you understand whether it is relevant to you or not, and whether it is done in a very well manner, right? Whether it has a relevance and a research question and a transcript, right? Is the relevance of the research questions made transparent, right? You know what the question is, it's very clear, this is the question, and the person went on to do the research because of this question, right? Does the study build directly upon any previous research, right? The research that the study that you're reading, is it something that people have kind of built upon a previous research that they have read, right? So that is something that you need to understand, right? Is there a theory that guides the research, right? Right? Whether there's a theory that guides the research, right? That is also something that you need to know, right? Sometimes you may not have main theories, right? But there could be theories. So no harm. You could always have the theories. You could always have what do you call different theories that you have, and you can actually go about uh, uh, picking the research or not, right? Is the theory described relevant to what you are trying to do, right? And structured and it's convincing manner, right? Are the methods used in the study explained in a clear manner, right? The description methods, how did they go about research, finding the answers, researching, etc., and so on, right? Is the sample appropriate, right? Is the sample appropriate, right? Are the research design and the questions appropriate for the study? Right? Are the measures of the variables valid and reliable? Has the author used the appropriate quantitative or qualitative techniques to do the research? Do the conclusion results from the findings of the study? Right? Do they actually resemble the finding of the study? Do the conclusions give a clear answer to the main research question? Right? Sometimes you have a question, but you're gone multiple. So that is also something you need to know, right? Has the author considered the limitations of the study? Has the author presented the limitation of the study so that you know, like under which context the limitations this research was done, right? So it becomes very important that you ask these questions, so that so that uh, you know that you're picking the right document and the right article, right? Otherwise, probably you may not be uh, picking the right ones. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So we're coming to the conclusion of today's session. A good literature review needs to include references to the key studies in the field. For this reason, articles, books that are often cited by others must be included in your literature review, even if these articles and books were written 30 or 40 years ago, right? Because these books add value, right? They actually add value and they can actually give you certain insights. However, more recent work should also be incorporated in your literature survey, since recent work will build on the broader and more up-to-date streams and literature than older work, right? I mean, a simple example of we talk about the Maslow's theory, but today the Maslow's theory can be challenged, it can be argued, right? Whether this theory is still relevant in today's context, right? Whether this is still relevant in today's context. So that is something that you need to look at, right? That is something that you need to look at, right? So it's important, guys, for you to understand that the conclusion, sorry, not the conclusion, the literature that you read, it has very authentic books. And again, when you take books, make sure it has gone through some editions, no? Maybe few editions or maybe republications. Those matter because to show that how much that book has proper details, right? That tells you how much of proper details that thing has, right? Otherwise, yeah, it doesn't work, isn't it? Right? So it's important that you kind of have a look at something. Okay. All right. Okay, so that brings us to a very quick session and conclusion for today, right? Any questions, guys? Any questions? Was it so clear that, I mean, no questions, or okay, this is what I need? Because I guess you guys have also been doing referencing, so you have read the articles, you have brought in stuff. So doing the dissertation again is a similar thing because you want to kind of bring good text, right? I mean, good text that has been kind of written and then people have spoken about, etc., and so on, right? You don't want to just bring in something that is because today, if you see the Google Scholar, we do not know, but so there are people who have kind of Google Scholar articles that are published, but then you also find that those papers may not be properly reviewed. You just can't take from any journal also. You need to see the credibility of the journal, right? DOA has some good certification, and at the same time, ResearchGate has some good journals that are certified because it depends on the rigorousness of the peer review and so forth. So that way it's really good, guys, for you to look at some of those articles. So remember, you may have a problem, you may have gone with the title, but be open, guys. Be open to change your title if needed. Your problem may be the same, no problems, keep the problem. But for you, based on the problem, you may have analyzed it differently and you may want to take another angle. But you might find through the literature, look, there are certain things that have been done on this area, but this area is missing. Therefore, you're looking at taking it on a different angle. So you should be willing to do. So that's what I said, like start reading now itself some of the journals and articles so that you know that you're going in the right direction, that you know that this is the article that's going to come out. Okay? Is that clear, guys?
Yeah. So, but in between, if we change the topic, will our supervisor accept that, or will anyway,
No,
we have to convince him? Yeah.
if you have a justification, see, it's like this, Irfan. You go with the first chapter to the supervisor in the first meeting, and then he says, okay, and you're proceeding. You come to your second meeting, by then you should have done enough literature review. At that point, if you don't change and you go up to the third chapter and then you say, so I'm changing the title, that's wrong. But in the second meeting, at least if you say, or even before that, if you say, like, look, I've been reading literature, I'm going to change my title and the topic to go this angle, although the research problem remains the same. So if you can justify, the supervisor will agree, right? And then you can change it and go on.
Okay, so okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So is it mandatory for the research to be linked with a specific company, or can we take consider a situation as a whole and do the research?
No, my problem is you can take a situation as a whole and do a research. There is no problem. The problem is when you take a situation and do a research, who would be your respondents? Right? Who would your respondents be? Right?
Yeah.
That is where the question is, because you'll get lost there, because you might know the people, but they may not be there the last 2 weeks of your research. Right? That's a problem. So when you do it, that's why we kind of keep it to the company, because if you do it in a company, like it is somewhat in a controlled environment, you can get something done, right? If you go outside, it's a bit challenging. It's a bit risky.
Okay, sir.
You understand?
Yeah, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Any other questions, guys?
Do we need to meet our supervisor in person, or is it okay to meet in a Zoom, via Zoom or Teams?
You want to meet your supervisor in a zoo?
Yes, sir, because we are from Jaffna. That's
Some Zoom. Okay, fine. I heard it like, is it okay to meet my supervisor in a zoo? Sorry, Zoom. Okay, I didn't hear the Zoom properly. Okay, fine. All right. No.
That's
I mean, our supervisory meeting so far has been online, right? All 3 meetings, everything has been online, right? So you don't actually need to how do you say, need to travel. But I don't know the new requirements, how it's going to be, because this time there was a requirement saying that the supervisors were a bit worried, because they said at least we need to have the first meeting in person so that we know the person, we talk to the person and see whether this person is is the one who's going to do the work, right? So there were some concerns like that. I mean, if you ask me, I of course have my camera on and everything. So I can see when the eye movements are going on, so that somebody's giving a tip or whatsoever it happens. So that is there, right? So I think this might, I'm not sure this time, Taksha Jini. I don't know this time whether it's going to be in person, but all this while it was remote through Teams. Okay.
Yes, it's better if it is on Teams. There are a lot of students also from abroad as well. Yeah, so I don't know, especially in our supply chain,
I
almost 12 to
actually,
15 people from supply chain
Hmm.
roles from abroad. So if you have to travel just for one session, I don't know if it is feasible to do that.
No,
But
no, no, no,
yeah,
no.
if there's a requirement, yeah, that's something else. But if
Yeah.
possible, we should push it for remote.
See, that is why I strategically pick all these students from overseas because I tell them, look, you don't need to travel. You pay for my ticket. You pay for my accommodation. You guys pool and pay. I come, so all of you guys enjoy. It saves money for you rather than you coming. Rather than you paying for the entire ticket. If there are 5 of you guys in Dubai, 6 of you guys, you have shared the cost, right? And I come to Dubai, right? And I have a supervisor meeting and I go.
So
And
if you
that is
are a
also possible,
supervisor,
no?
there's no problem in doing that. So, but we don't
Adi
know who's going
kattayo.
to be. Yeah.
කට්ටියක් ඉන්න වෙනවා දන්න ඕ දැන්
No, if
ගිය
you really
සුපර්ගෙන ඊට
need, you
පස්සේ
put us
දැන්
in your badge. Yeah.
ඊට පස්සේ ෂුවලි ගිය මට නම් කුමාර ලොපස් දාන්න එපා ස්පොයිලර් කියලා දාලා රික්වෙස්ට් එකක් දාලා යනවා. No. I mean, I don't think. See, I think, Irfan, I think, if I'm not mistaken, your batch is the last batch where we have foreign students, right? The new ones, we don't have foreign students because Cardiff requires 50% attendance, right? So that is physical attendance. 50% class has to be physically done. And that will also change going forward. So I think there might be different models that will be coming in the future. But so this is the last batch. Probably we have some foreign students, right? Then it basically changes. So I don't think so. That's a good point because in that case, I think they won't ask you to come in person. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So another question. If you want to do a research, is it okay to use Google Form to collect the data?
Yeah. You can use Google Form to collect data, right? You can use SurveyMonkey to collect data. Those are all no problems. You can use. And by the way, guys, again, I'll tell you, I mean, it probably costs around $6 or something for Adobe AI Assist. It can also, maybe you can subscribe to ChatGPT is $20, I think, per month, if I'm not mistaken, where you can actually upload, like you download a journal, you upload to ChatGPT, you can get the summary of it and everything, and you guys can have a quick read rather than reading the entire journal. But I will recommend you at least read 3 or 4 journals so that you know how it is, and then use the quick ones. You understand? So use some of these techniques that are there, guys, right? Use some of these tools that are there to ease yourself because I'm doing the same thing. I've been also taught by one of the lecturers to do how it is. So that's how I'm also doing it. I use the Adobe Assist, but this is also nice way of doing it. Okay. So don't keep away from using AI. Use it because that is to help us to speed up things and so on, right?
So Google still, using Google Edge, you can do it without paying.
With Google
Same,
Edge, is it?
yeah, Google Edge, you can do it.
Okay,
It's the
without
same one.
without
Yeah,
subscribing
without ChatGPT.
to
Yeah, without subscribing, you can do it.
Google Edge. Is it a subscribed one? Google Edge.
You mean Microsoft Edge, right?
Yeah, it must be Microsoft Edge,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Google. So you're talking about Copilot.
Yeah, Copilot. Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you have a license, yeah, but are you sure it does a good job?
I used that before. That's it.
All right, okay. Hey, that's interesting. Let me see. Let me try some and see if it works. Interesting. Right.
So when we
Uh,
start data collection, for example, if I'm doing in a company or some hospital or somewhere, I have to get the permission from the director. No? So is it okay if I'm in abroad? Is it okay to get the permission via the email? And after that, starting collecting, start collecting data through these Google Forms.
See,
Hello?
if you have Google Forms, you might as well
No, no,
send the Google form to the employees too. Yeah, but to get the permission,
no,
you can
yeah,
actually get the permission through email.
yeah.
Yeah.
No need to do it at group.
No. You don't need to be in person or anything. If the company directors agree, you can send the Google form and get it. Just make sure
Okay,
that the approval or whatsoever is with you so that when you publish the research, nobody comes and challenges you, how did you get the data and so on, because you never know, no? I mean, like you might think it's small. 10 years down the line, somebody can trigger it and they might say, like, look, there was this research done by Takshajini and this is what it is and this said all the data. They might come and say, where is your approval to do this? Who gave you? Who gave info? And like, I mean, you can unnecessarily get into issues, right?
Yes. And this one, consent form. When we give the consent form, is it okay to get the e-signature?
Yeah. That's no problem. E-signature, even e-approval is okay. E-approval is okay. You don't need to get, because I think nobody's going to put e-signature and give it to you. But I mean, e-signature, digital signature, yes, but not a copy and paste of a signature.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Takshajini, you're far away from doing a survey at the moment. Let me clearly tell you, if you don't have a proper chapter 1, you're not doing a survey. Your questionnaire starts in chapter 3. It is not about doing a questionnaire now. I'm just telling you, I do not know on what basis you're asking these questions. If you're asking the questions from the understanding of it's coming after chapter 3, no problems. But you don't start questionnaire from chapter 1, okay?
Okay, sir. No,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I had done researches previously for my other postgraduate studies. So that's where I came across a lot of issues. So before now, I'm going to live abroad. So that's why I asked these questions.
Yeah. No, I mean, your postgraduate research is different from the master's, and your PhD is going to be different from the master's. DBA will be different from because it's a progressive approach, no? At the UGD level, probably your research would have been collect data, analyze, and then prove something. But here it's a little bit different at the master's level to prove you're trying to look for a solution or a problem. But at a PhD, it's a different thing. So that's how it is. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Sir, when presenting the literature review, is there any kind of minimum number of minimum numbers, like this much of journals or any publications like that? Because sometimes when we go through few journals or few literature textbooks or something, then we get some idea and we may just go ahead with the planning. So is there any minimum numbers? Because I see there's a kind of 40% marks allocated for that.
Yeah, there is definitely, like, I mean, I say minimum, like, I mean, we are looking at research, I would say minimum 30 references should be there, right? Now, out of the 30 references, how many journals or how many books or articles would depend on your relevance, no, in regard to the work, right? So in that case, I may not be able to tell you, but you need to have at least a good 30 references, guys, right? You need to have at least 30 references, a mix of journals, books, and the articles, right? That has to be there, no?
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
So one in chat box.
So I said 40%, Nirosha, I said it 40%. Okay, it should be 40% of your research would be literature. You're not, I mean, sorry. Let me tell you what percentage of the total research should be dedicated to literature. So the weightage is 40%. So which means your word count, I would expect you to have 40% of your word count in the literature. Okay.
So the remaining, sir, obtain my answer, right?
Yeah, the remaining you have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter. Mohammed, I think you need to mute your mic, Mohammed. Fahad, Mohammed, can you mute your mic, please? Yeah, right. So the rest of it, yeah, you need to break it up. No, if you take 8,000 words, if 4,000 is for literature review, then you have to break the rest, isn't it? So you got another 4,000 words minimum, right, to cover. So in that case, it can be maybe say 4,000 for literature review. There can be 1,005 for 1,005 for chapter 1, another 1,000 or 1,005 for chapter 3, 1,000 for chapter 3, 1,000 for chapter 4, and 1,000 for final chapter. So that can be your 8,500 or 8,000 words, right?
Okay, sir, clear.
Okay. Sri Lankan Airlines, reasons for Sri Lankan making losses. Can this be a research question? Well, if you're working at Sri Lankan, if you think it works, fine. Can this be a research question? No, it's not research question. Reasons for Sri Lankan making losses. No, that is not a research question. That is like you kind of go into investigation, right? But what we're trying to do is your question to be, right, what could be the factor for you to come out of the losses? You kind of look at it from a positive side, not from a negative side, right? That's how we look at it, right? You look at it more from a positive side, not from a negative side. Okay. So it can be like, would restructuring or does restructuring help Sri Lankan Airlines operational efficiency? Something like that. Right? Okay, Malik, if we are going by anonymous such as ABC company, then approval from management is not required. Approval from management is not required, but ethically you should get some clearance from the company, because if you're going to use that data, or if you're going to access getting those people to do a research or survey or something, then you're going to use the factory people or like the organization people, right? So in that case, you may want to kind of get some approval, even though you're going anonymous.
But if that data is publicly available, that's fine. No, so only
If the data is publicly available, then no problem. So if the data is publicly available, you can even quote the company. Why do you want to go ABC?
Exactly. Yeah. Correct. Yes.
So you are talking about Adobe one, no? Is it Adobe Pro? Is Adobe AI one?
Sorry?
You're talking about the Adobe Acrobat Reader, that AI feature available in Adobe Pro. Is that
No,
one you're
it's in
talking
the
about?
Adobe. It's in the Acrobat AI Assist, right? Adobe
AI
has a
assist, yeah.
AI Assist online. Yeah, that's the one.
That's fine. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right, guys. So if there aren't any other questions, we can call it a day, and I'll see you on Monday. And on Monday, probably we'll have I will try to have a quick MCQ test to see what your understanding is so far, so that you can also assess yourself as to what your understanding is about what we have done so far, so that I know that you have an understanding or not. Okay?
Sir, one more question. Sir, can we
Yes.
have your WhatsApp number? Because I'm just researching on my topics. I just I want an assistance from you just to select a proper topic on my subject. So I'm not
Right.
Still I'm not ready. By this weekend, hopefully I will finalize my topic.
Right. Right. You don't want to leave me in peace, no? Right. Okay. Anyway, you send me your details and I'll send you my number to you. Okay.
Okay, how can I reach you, sir?
I was trying to see whether you caught it. Right. Yeah, of course. If you don't have my number,
I
how can
have
you reach me, right?
446 at the end.
All right. I'm just going to type it here. Huh? My number. I'll type it here, guys.
All right. We won't call you and disturb, but just a WhatsApp message.
I'm pretty poor in whatever way you communicate. I'm pretty poor in my response, man. I feel very sorry for you guys, but I mean, like, I sometimes I get, you won't believe recently my aunt, she called me and she said, don't you have the courtesy of opening a WhatsApp? I said, no, when did you send? To see, she has sent it on the 27th of December and I had not opened it yet. So I said, very sorry. Then I said, oh, what if I was sending something urgent? I said, look, if you're really sending something urgent on WhatsApp by now, you would have anyway made enough calls. No, I would have responded. But WhatsApp, I missed it. So what can I do? So like, I mean, so it gets into it. Right. No worries. Yeah. Send me some reminders. Huh? I'm not so good at responding. Email also, I'm pretty poor. I mean, when it comes to supervisory, it's different. I'm a little bit better when it comes to supervisory. But මේ වගේ advice කරන්න පොඩ්ඩක් අමාරුයි තමයි. But I will help you guys. Don't worry. I want to help you guys. Just that. Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you,
on
sir. See
Monday.
you
Good
next
night.
week.
Thank you,
Take care.
sir.
Bye.
Okay, sir. Have a nice journey. Okay.
Thank you,
You too.
sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Nice
good
journey
night.
with all the bus accidents taking place on Sri Lankan roads. It will be a miracle for me to go to Jaffna, miracle to come back from Jaffna nowadays, going on Sri Lankan roads. If you look at the accidents, huh? Terrible, no? Terrible, terrible.
Sir, you better take a
Anyway.
chopper.
Who knows, our pilots may be drunk as well, man. Right? Chopper එකත් කොයියක් ගාවුඩ ඉරවුණු ඔබ තාව ප්‍රශ්නය. Anyway, guys.
Yes, sir.
All
Weather
right, guys.
condition is not good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The weather conditions are also not good. The driving is also not so good. I don't know. I mean, like 4-5 consecutive days we have been having accidents, no? I mean, yesterday one of my trainers who was supposed to come to Colombo met with an accident early morning coming from Batiklo. So he's in the hospital. So like, I mean, you never know. It's scary. Yeah. Even if we go slow, the guy coming on the opposite direction, you just do not know. You just do not know. So it's all in God's hand. Safety. All right, guys. Take care. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Good night, sir.
answering my questions. Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, sir.